Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what I'd like to call the Smash 4 slash Melee event. I mean, wait, fuck, I fucked that up so hard. What I meant to say is the Smash 4 versus Melee debate. And I will just put it as a disclaimer right now. If you try to start a flame war in the comments over Melee versus Smash 4, I'm going to block you. If you want to talk about the game in a nice, civilized manner, go right ahead. But if you try any sleazy shit, you're getting blocked. Okay, but with all that said, let's get into this debate, quote unquote.
All right.
So, Jerome, why don't you start off?
Okay. So, nah, I guess it's just I've been putting some, I've been thinking about how people feel when it comes to Smash 4, when it comes to Melee, and how do people feel between the two games, and the fact that both games are radically different. Now, it's just obviously goes without saying that both games are different and they play differently. They're mechanic, the way how certain mechanics works are altered so that people do get different feels out of it, which is fine. Um, Now, in my opinion, I do feel that I like Smash 4 more over Melee. I'm not saying Melee is a terrible game. I actually love Melee, especially I grew up with that game. Um,
Yeah, same here.
I grew up with that game. I mean, I also had the Smash 64 even beforehand, but the point is, like, it was one of the first few games that I got for the Nintendo GameCube, and to be honest, and then out of all the games that I've sold off of my GameCube back when I, didn't have a job, I didn't have any money or anything like that, I was desperate for new games that are coming out at the time. I would trade in every single game that I had, and I had Melee from since the day I got it, and I've never left, and I never dropped it since.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it still holds a really good place in my heart because I've spent a lot of time on that game. Now, in terms of Smash 4, I just feel that with Sakurai and the Namco team and Nintendo, working really hard to make this game cater to not just the competition but to also for the casual crowd, that I feel that the game does, it just deserves some respect at how much they tried hard to make both sides happy. Right.
Hmm.
So in
So overall, what you're saying is that you you like both games, of course, but you just feel that Smash 4, in a sense, is more, it just has a more global appeal than something like Melee would.
Yes, because it
Hmm.
reaches out to a lot of people. I mean, it's not, you don't have to play the game, no one's forcing you to, right? And if you have your own opinions of how much you feel about Melee, then no, that's fine. But at the same time, this game does do a lot of things that helps please more than just a particular crowd for the sake of, well, to be blunt about it, it's really just business what they're trying to what they're trying to do here, right? So instead of just focusing on one particular department, it's more a broader sense. So they have to make the game work accordingly. I mean, don't get me wrong, Melee is the same thing. It's just that to me, in Melee, there's the normal level and then there's the technical level.
There's the tourney level.
Yeah, there's a tourney level, better, a better word for it. There's a tourney level, which is a far more difference between someone who plays the game normally, whether they play with items, whether they play Final Destination only. It still comes down to a certain, level that still allows people to enjoy the game as it is.
Yeah, like whether they're a Fox only no items Final Destination player or they're like a Pichu all items party mode player.
Yeah, so basically, I'm just saying that there's certain so like I understand that a lot of upset people are upset that it doesn't play exactly like Melee, and upset that um upset that uh Smash 4 takes away a lot of things. Some people say it's just brawl with a new coat of paint, which to
Which I disagree with.
but it's still, but I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from, but at the same time, you got to remember that uh, Smash 4 is a completely different identity of its own,
Hmm.
right?
Well, the way I see it is that personally, while I'm a bigger fan of Melee's gameplay as a whole, first of all, let me just say this: that Melee's gameplay is not perfect. Anyone who says that, I'm sorry, but you're delusional. But if I'm being real here for a minute, like I said, I prefer the faster paced game, more combo based gameplay of Melee. But I wouldn't want a Melee 2 as another Smash game. No, I don't really think that's what we need. Honestly, just give me a faster-paced, more combo-based game, but remove all the L canceling, wave dashing, all that. Just give me regular combos with regular characters, and that's really what I prefer. And Smash 4, to an extent, does do that, but just it's not to the extent that I want. It's like it's so close, it's almost there, but it just doesn't go all the way, which is what I would have preferred.
Well, the way how I see it, it's like how you know, yeah, Smash 4 does have its combos to a degree, but it's more about understanding, character matchups, also understanding, you know, uh, DI, SDI and stuff like that, like how those make a difference whether the combo will work out or not. Um, I kind of line it more towards how Marvel vs. Capcom handles it, and how what's the game again? Skullgirls handles it, because in Marvel vs. Capcom it's very combo heavy, no doubt.
Yeah, one touch and you're dead kind of things.
Pretty much. I mean, look at Zero for example. He's like top tier. Even after they attempted to nerf him through the transition to Ultimate, he still stays on top because he's just
he's still one of the best characters
because of all of his infinites and stuff like that. And that kind of takes away all the fun out of a game as a whole because there's nothing much you can do about it. Now, when you but then in Skullgirls, people attempt infinites, but the other person has a way of getting out of that, no matter what you do, because they're trying to discourage, one-sided gameplay like that.
Like, from what I recall, one of the developers of the game saying, the entire purpose of Skullgirls' combat system was to not be like Marvel, i.e., no one touch of death things. And even I remember, I believe it was at a past Evo, I believe it was Evo 2013, I think it was, when a character demonstrated not an infinite combo, but like almost like 100 plus hit combo. I believe one of the game devs straight up said, "Yep, that's gonna get patched out very soon."
Yes, and
in fact, sorry to cut you off, Jerome. You can go ahead.
You can go.
One comparison that I've seen that I really believe is a very apt comparison when it comes to the whole Smash 4 Melee thing. Smash 4 is like Ultra Street Fighter 4, whereas Melee is like Third Strike. A lot of people prefer the faster gameplay of Third Strike, the more like rushdown version of Surfer versus the slower, more methodical approach of Street Fighter 4. And that's kind of what I see in the whole Melee versus Smash 4 thing. Both games work as competitive games, and both games compete to different categories. And there of course is going to be some overlap, but fundamentally they play different. Like, okay, let me rephrase that. Fundamentally they're the same game, but when it comes down to pure execution, they play differently.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I kind of one of the things I fear of Smash 4 more is that they just encourage putting more thought into certain things instead of more in terms of matchups and stuff. Like, of course, we have our top tiers, we have our low tiers, and there's some characters that just plain suck no matter how hard you no matter how
Little Mac.
Well, that's very subjective. I don't know if they put him on like on the Ice Climber tier list. I don't know if that's there for Little Mac, but the point is, I mean, this is the same thing with Melee, but Melee, I'm not sure. You're the expert. I'm pretty sure there's like a smaller pool of a tier list for Melee.
The smaller pool of viable characters, which really mainly consists of. Which pretty much consists of Falco, Fox, Mars, Sheik, Captain Falcon, Peach, Samus, maybe Ganondorf, and Pikachu, and that's really it. Or that's really what most people would consider viable characters.
So it's like they pretty much took out I'm pretty sure that's like only half of the characters in the entire game, right?
Roughly half.
Yeah, so it's like when you have to play competitively, you got to play the higher tier character, that pool specifically, if you really want to stand a chance, because all the other characters just don't work out very well, or enough,
at the very least, if you want to place higher, you're generally going to pick those characters because they just have a better chance of getting higher placements rather than like if most people who are seriously taking tournaments like into account. They wouldn't be picking Pichu and trying to go to grand finals. Like, that just doesn't happen.
if anything, more like a troll. But
Yeah, they troll you with Pichu in pools. But I think what I'm really trying to get across, or what we, no, sorry, not I, we are trying to get across, is that the games themselves, while both fundamentally the same, are different, and that's all right. Like like I said, I'm personally the melee guy. I prefer the faster, rush down, heavy combo game, and Jerome is more of the Smash 4 guy. He prefers the more read-based gameplay, which it does have. Like I said, there are combos in the game, but they're more about reading your opponent and like psyching them out into thinking, okay, is he gonna air dodge after I do this? And if he does, what should I do? Stuff like that. Like for example, you can. If you're playing Marth in Melee versus Smash 4, it's almost like an entirely different character. In Marth, you can be super aggressive, rush down, get your chain grabs going, get stuff like that going. Smash 4, it's more about poking him with a couple of your tilts and forward and like forward and stuff like that.
Spacing, patience,
countering at the right time, waiting for the air dodge or the spot dodge, and then getting a tipper off of that. And like I said, both fundamentally the same, just different execution.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people consider Marth one of the lower tiers, but at the same time, I still feel that he's fun to use. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, yeah, it does suck how you can pretty much air dodge like infinitely in the air, and it lets you avoid a lot of attacks. But at the same time, you still get punished for actually trying to do that in the first place, right? It's all about understanding, change your gameplay and stuff like that, so the person, it's because at that point they become so predictable because they're using that one move. Right, so again, there's a lot more there's more thought process. I'm not saying there's no thought process in Melee, of course. I mean,
yeah, of course, because like you need to be smart to pull off those combos. Because if you don't know what you're doing, your opponent's either gonna react to you and combo you, or you're just gonna mess up and die along the way.
Yeah, it's just I guess saying Smash 4 puts a lot more thought into it, but I do appreciate that more because it feels less. Feels like because it feels you can feel more open-minded with what you can do, basically. Right, as long as you understand the character, as long as you understand your character, understand its limits and stuff like that. Just again, like similar to Melee, just to a much bigger degree. Again, there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's okay with you guys disagreeing with me on that. It's fine if you can bring up your points respectfully, of course.
Yeah, like I said, if you be a dick, I'm gonna block you.
But now, with that said, I guess the next topic I really want to get into is how certain people or certain groups and stuff like that feel about this. I mean, of course, there's some Melee players who fully respect how people feel about it because at the end of the day, these are just video games that we're all.
Yeah, play the game that you want to play.
Exactly, they're video games. The games are we play to have fun, to escape from reality. To beat the shit out of our friends because we can't physically do that.
Yeah, look for example, like I don't mean to like suck our own dicks here or anything like that, but like me and Jerome both have differing opinions on what we determine as our perfect Smash game. But even then, like I still play Melee and I still play Smash 4 like almost equal amounts. And while Jerome says that he doesn't really play Melee as much as I do, that like he wouldn't shit on me or shit on the game because of the way it plays. No, like of course not.
I mean, if anything, Selenia, I feel I should play with Melee more with you. Maybe if I do spend more time with you with Melee, I might actually be able to handle it better and understand it better. So for for that, I feel that for that I apologize if I know there's a number of times you ask me to play Melee with you and I say no because I'm afraid of the whole technicals getting bodied thing and stuff like that. So for that in the future we'll definitely do some more Melee, some recordings and stuff like that, just so just to have out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm trying to back to away from that tangent. The fact that there's just a lot of hate going on still, like guys, they're video games, no one's forcing you to play these games. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. Just don't be so vocal and so rude about it to other people who prefer this game because they just feel more comfortable with this game compared to Melee.
Yeah, like if you're at a tourney or something and you see Melee played on one side, Smash 4 on the other, don't be a dick about it. Don't say, oh, you're playing that casual game or you just love to stick to your old game. Just play the game that you want and have fun. That's what it's about.
And don't get me wrong, and Smash 4 isn't innocent on this either. Um, there's a lot of, I mean, it's more of a eternal cycle. It's just a cycle of aggression at this point because certain people just felt belittled. Felt insulted about it, and because of that, the other side feels they need to do the same in order to balance it. It doesn't work that way,
To balance
guys.
it out.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. It
You don't
just
douse a fire with more fire. You just create a bigger fire.
right. So it's like guys, they're just video games, so just fully respect each other. I mean, look at the other fighting game community. I don't see people who play Third Strike or Street Fighter 4, and you're at each other's throats. And now we got Street Fighter 5, and Capcom outright stated that this is a game that we're trying to get not just the regular competition into, but we also want um, the casuals to get into this too, right? And unlike the Smash Brothers community, the people of Street Fighter are wholeheartedly welcoming this idea, right?
Yeah, like you don't see Street Fighter versus Third Strike debates like every headline. You just see, oh, people are playing Third Strike. Oh, people are playing Street Fighter 4, or people are playing Street Fighter 5. There's no segregation the way there is with the Smash Bros. Communities. I don't believe.
I mean, I don't again, yeah, because I don't really know how it is in that community, but I do know from the few videos that I've seen, I've never seen anyone complain about it that much. If anything, they've just been complaining about Street Fighter 5's content, but they're not complaining. But they're not complaining about the game mechanics themselves because they know the foundation that starts it all in the first place is still there, right? And that's what's most important. You're right. It's the same thing for Smash Brothers. As long as it's not like a completely different game that we've never even, we're not even used to, right? Then there should be no reason to be upset about it,
Yeah.
right? And remember, Sakurai literally poured his heart into this game. I mean, he spent hours upon hours.
He worked with a busted arm.
He worked with a busted arm. He took no vacations, no breaks. He's been away from his family, and his family's been responding to it. This guy put in a lot of work into this game, and we're hearing all these people saying, "Oh, it's not Melee." It's like, really?
Well, that just devalues his whole work right there.
So you're telling me the guy who made, I'm not sure. Did he make the original Smash Brothers? I'm pretty sure he did, right?
Yes, he did. He did.
You're talking about the guy who started this whole franchise, and you're shitting on his latest game.
Just because it doesn't play like the old one.
It's not fair. You're telling me that if he dies right now, that could potentially cut off Smash Brothers forever, right? And that's not cool.
Or at least Smash Bros. As far as we know it.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. You know what I mean? It's like, I remember telling this analogy to Solani before. It's like imagining a nice wife who's cooking for you, who he gives you like massages, kisses you goodnight, kisses you every time you leave to go to work, kisses you when you come back home, keeps the house clean, everything for you, and all you do is turn around and say, "You'll never be as good as my ex-wife."
Yeah, you're being a dick.
You're an absolute asshole.
Yeah.
That's not fair. I mean, again, we're not talking about the entire community. We're just talking about...
Yeah, because we know not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
There's no way that everyone could be like that. That just doesn't happen.
And for those who...
And I know it's sorry to cut you off, Jerome. I know it does sound like we're being more harsh to Melee than anything else, but we're just trying to get the point across is that yeah, they're two sides of the game, but they're two sides of one coin pretty much. You don't diss one game just because you like the other or anything like that. Just go with the punches. Like, enjoy the game that you like, play the game that you like, and you know what? Maybe even just give the other game a chance sometimes. You might find yourself to like it.
Oh, and with that said, I know there's a good handful of you who've never even touched the game to begin with, and you're still shitting on it. You have no...
There's always people who do that.
You have no right to judge a game until you've actually played it.
Yeah.
So just calling out those guys, cut that shit out.
Yeah, please.
Play the game first before you state your opinions. And not just like 5 minutes of gameplay. You gotta spend some time with the game first. Try to get used to what it already is, and then state your opinion on how you feel about it. That's an opinion.
Yeah.
That's an opinion.
But this video is getting kind of long. Just as to end off, guys, play the game that you want, enjoy the game that you want, and you know what? Just be a decent be a decent person.
Respect one another. Respect one another. And again, those who agree with us, right? That's fine. Help spread the word. Help spread the word. Help, please, just follow the advice of every other people who are being respectful about it. Just spread the love. Just spread the love.
Yep.
Right. And those who disagree, please just be respectful about it and state your reasons why.
If you're gonna tell us in the comments, like I said, just structure your sentences and just make them coherent and concise. And above all else, just be nice about it. Don't shove your opinions down each other's throats. Don't harass each other. Just be civil. That's all we ask. And play Brawl because it's obviously the best Smash game.
That's a tangent of something else we might discuss, but that's another time.
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time.